I want to thank Kevin for suggesting this clip. It was really challenging to say the least. It's one of those weird parts where it's relatively simple, but definitely not easy. So there are really like two main things, maybe three things I'm going to mostly break down. The third of which is just that really repetitive kind of shred lick. I'll give my thoughts on that last. But let's start with the first little thing that we have here, which is this really cool pentatonic bit that Trey does. So we start out with this octave of A. And then Trey does this like pre-bend. He goes down and then bends back up and creates so much tension on the way up. Like you don't get the payoff to the very end of that bend. And then there's a little vibrato at the end. I love listening to these little details on the approach that Trey brings to the table. So again. That is just so good. From the bend, one more time. So that's kind of the first little section I would think of. There's like three little pieces. That's the first part. Then we move up into second position of the minor pentatonic, and we do this little part here. Now, the thing that I want to bring attention to with a part like that is just how percussive Trey is. I just released a video of, it's actually just Trey giving a lesson on dividing rhythm. If you haven't seen that one, definitely go check it out. But you really, in a lick like this, you get the sense of just how percussive he is. You know, we're taking two notes here, and to me, it seems like such a creative way to use just two tones. Just it really sounds like almost like a drum being played. So one more time on this section, really listen for that. Now, immediately right after that, we get into this faster, I call it the shred lick. This is something that comes up a lot of times in Divided Sky, in David Bowie, in Lizards, in a lot of these songs where, or Maze is another example, where you hear these faster, shreddy type things. Whenever you hear that, what you can usually count on is that Trey has figured out a way to be really efficient with his movement so that the speed can come from that efficiency. This is one of those cases, just like those other examples. And other guitar players do this too when they're doing shreddy kinds of things. So what he's doing here is he's maximizing two motions, just down and up with the right hand. Usually it comes down to being really efficient with that. From what I could tell, he's going like this. One motion to hit two strings, and then an up to kind of reset. So he's like down, up, up. Now that's what the picking is doing. Down, up, down, up, down, up. You just have to kind of really hear that rhythm. So you're like down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So try to get that rhythm in your head, and then plugging in the notes is really easy because there's only three notes. We're going to hit this E right here, a G, and then an A, and that's it. Like kind of for the whole rest of this run, it's just those three notes. Again, going to show that the amount of notes or the scale or whatever isn't as important sometimes as the rhythm you bring to it. And when you couple an interesting rhythm with something repetitive, it can really catch the listener's ear, and it can be really exciting just to hear that buildup of the same thing over and over and over, and then finally there's a resolution where he hangs on the A for a little while. Now, I'm not going to go through this entire thing and play it from when he starts doing this. I'm just going to talk you through it in a couple pointers. It happens a million times. I would just suggest putting on the tune once you get this technique down, slow it down if you're able to, and just play along with it. You're just going to have to get used to Trey's timing, because he's also he's hitting that whammy pedal or whatever it is that's doing that crazy pitch shift, and you can hear the timing change a little bit when you can tell he's like kind of multitasking. So matching that is pretty difficult, but you can definitely do it. I did the best I could with it. You just have to really listen for that highest note. I find it. You got to really listen for when that happens and try to match it. Anyway, so we take those 3 notes, start with the down with the right hand on 9 of G, follow it up with 8 of B with the index finger, ring finger hits 10 of B on an up. So we go down, up, down, just like that the whole time. So down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. That's it. So like I said, it's one of those things that's really simple, but man, is it tough to do in time, at tempo, and match Trey's timing. Oh, here, I forgot to say the ending is like this. So let's say you do, whatever it ends up being, like, 30 in a row or whatever of that lick. Then at the end, you end like that. So what happens is you don't complete the full phrase, which actually is kind of difficult to remember to put that at the very end, that you have to skip one of the notes, because usually we go E, G, A. At the end, it just goes E, A. So we don't do the G. So let's say we were doing 4 at the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Anyway, I hope those tips help. Thanks again to Kevin for the suggestion. If you have ideas for parts you want me to transcribe, I'm giving dibs to people on Patreon. That's where Kevin gave me the suggestion. And this was such an awesome clip. I've been asking for 10 to 20 seconds. This one was a little longer, but it's a special one. I think this Prague Ghost, it's high up on the list of songs I want to do a full transcription for. I just haven't quite built myself up to it. So I appreciate the nudge to at least do part of it. Anyway, if you want to have a part transcribed, go over to patreon.com/Phish Guitar Lessons. Please subscribe to the channel. Please share it with anybody you think this might be helpful to. And I'll see you next time. Thanks.